All right, guys, we are officially recording. My name is Brittany Wright. For those of you hopping on from Amanda Miller's team, thanks for making the time to come tonight and listen to our guest speaker, Mannie Watkins. We are very excited to have her and to hear what she has to say. Mannie is a 5-star elite coach. She is a Success Club 10 legend, which means that for the past 24 months consecutively, she's helped 5 or more people start their journey to health and wellness and get started on a good, healthy journey for themselves. She is someone that I look up to. She is just so confident and so powerful and just so sure of, this is me, this is who I am, and you can take it or leave it. And, honestly, Amanda has inspired me to kind of be that way too. So I really look up to both of these ladies, and I'm really excited to hear what Mannie has to say. And I know that she's going to give you guys some things to think about and to start implementing right away so that you can make sure that you are sharing your story and separating who you are from every other Beachbody coach out there. Because anyone can go buy a program, anyone can go buy Shakeology, but you need to set yourself apart from me and Mannie and Amanda and the other coaches that I see on this team. So really knowing your story, and I am excited to have Mannie share that with us tonight. So Mannie, I'm going to let you have at it. And then at the end, we can open it up if we want to leave, 10 minutes for questions. If anyone has them, we can leave that time open at the end. So I'm going to mute me, and then you can unmute you.
And I'm going to go ahead and just start with this. I'm going to say that growing up, I was not a confident girl. I was a shy girl. I'm a foreign girl. I was born in another country. I came here when I was 8. I always felt like I didn't really fit in. I lived in Chicago, and I was in public school, and I felt very like the outsider for a very long time. I didn't speak English. I didn't know how to communicate with others. I felt like I was always that outsider. So I was very shy, and I was very not confident, contrary to what Brittany said. On top of that, I grew up in a Romanian community that is very focused on looks. I love my community. I love my culture, but they were very focused on being thin and skinny. And I never felt like I was good enough. I always felt like I was too muscular, even when I was like a size 6. So I was very much always trying to be something I wasn't. I never felt like what I was good enough. I always had friends that were skinnier, and I always felt like, here's this community I'm part of that I'm supposed to belong in, that I don't quite feel like I fit in because I'm not skinny enough. And then here's this American culture that I'm trying to integrate in, that I'm still trying to feel my way around, that I don't fit in. So that's a slice of my story, because I'm sharing this with you guys because I'm going to talk to you about stories. So a lot of people may not know this, but that kind of has you probably interested, like, oh, I didn't know that about her, right? So I wasn't always confident. I wasn't always self-assured, and I certainly wasn't always outspoken. I was quite the contrary, and I didn't embrace who I was for many, many years. But I realized that it is those things that you struggle with that are going to be the things that people resonate with. And when we embrace those things, that's when we really connect with people. So I wanted to connect with you guys, and I wanted to share that right off the bat, so you guys know that I was that girl for many, many, many years. And I'm going to give you a little bit of background on how I was able to break past that. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to show you a PowerPoint. I'm not going to bore you with, and I'm not going to read it word for word, but I'm going to start here, and I'm going to say that your story matters. I've been a coach for 3 years, since 2012. A little bit about me so you understand who's talking to you. I am a mom to a 5-year-old, 5.5-year-old. I became a coach 3 years ago when my son was 2, when I was 90 pounds overweight and dealing with latent postpartum depression that I was finally acknowledging. I was a social worker in mental health for 15 years at the time. And I simply decided that I needed something to change. I was a gym rat before and during my pregnancy for many years. I was very, very fit. And I found myself 3 years ago stuck, feeling guilty to go back to the gym and feeling like I didn't recognize who I saw in the mirror. So I literally prayed for a solution, and someone offered me some Shakeology packets and a challenge group, and I joined a challenge group reluctantly. Okay, and that's where my story with Beachbody starts. 3 years ago, 90 pounds overweight, and reluctant to do this online challenge group thing. So let me just dive right in to, why I think it's important to share. You need to know where someone started for you to be able to connect with them, okay? So you need to know that I was overweight. I was not confident. I was that girl that, when when Meg said, you should become a coach, I was like, have you looked at me? I'm like overweight. And I was like, back. Nobody's going to relate to me, okay? Like, seriously. That's how I talk to myself. Knowing my background of always feeling like I had to be skinny, here I was at the worst in my mind point of my life, thinking, please, a coach? That's laughable, okay? No, I'm not going to coach anybody, but I'm going to get the discount. So that's how I talked to myself. I didn't think I had anything to offer anybody because I was overweight, because I was the antithesis of what a coach should be in my mind anyway. And so I didn't think I had anything to offer. Okay. So I think it's important to say that right off the bat. 3 years ago, that's where I was when I said, I'm going to be a coach. So I became a coach for the discount period. But what happened along the way, by trusting the process, by trusting my mentor who told me, share your journey, share your ups and downs, share your muffin tops, share your jiggles, your wiggles, your whatever in betweens. That's going to inspire people. That is what inspires people. It's not perfection. So I trusted her, and that's what I did. And today I stand here saying that I believe that wholeheartedly, that our struggles, our imperfections, and our deficiencies are what will inspire people, whether it's weight that we have to lose, or whether it's an emotional struggle or financial struggle. That is truly, when people see that we're authentic with sharing that, that is what connects them to us. So with that, I'm going to go into, why does your story matter? Okay, this is not my quote, but I loved it. It's important that we share our experience with other people. Your story will heal you, and your story will heal somebody else. When you tell your story, you free yourself and you give other people permission to acknowledge their own story. I'm going to start by telling you guys that I was at Platinum Edge 2 years ago, and I remember hearing Bo Eason saying, and I have it written down here, he said, the highest paid person in this century will be the storyteller. And he said, it's never about the product, it's always about you. And that stuck with me. I was like, wow, really? It's like, that thing that you don't want to tell people that kind of makes you cringe, that kind of makes you like, oh my gosh, if I said that, I would just be mortified, I would die. It's like, that's what you got to share with people. Maybe slices of it, maybe layers of it, maybe not all at once, but that's what you got to share with people. And it stuck with me. And I started trying to apply that principle. So today, I'm going to hopefully share with you guys some things that have, impacted me, and I hope will impact you. And this is all information I've gathered from others that I've tried to apply. And at the end of the day, what it is really us sharing who we are and being willing to do that. And so I think all of us are going to be able to take something from this that can help us move to the next step after this, hopefully. Okay, so why does your story matters? Okay, why matters? Why your story matters? Okay, coaches are in the business of helping people, right? We're in relationship marketing, right? So we know that we want to help people, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we know that. We all offer the same programs, right? But let's face it, it's not us posting our awesome, Insanity Max 30 or hardcore that inspires people to join us. It is us. It is something about us that people connect with that say, okay, I'm going to give that product a try. So I'm going to tie this into Beachbody because we're all Beachbody coaches, right? So at the end of this, I want you to know how your story and Beachbody success ties in. So I'm going to interweave the two. Here's the cool part. Everybody has a different story and journey. And my fitness story may not resonate with some, but yours will. I'm going to sit on that for a second. When I heard that, I was like, really? Because, if you were anything like me in the beginning, I was like, and even along the way, I was like, look at that awesome coach. She's got such an amazing, page and story. And I cannot keep up with that. I can't even compete with that. You don't have to compete with that because guess what? You have your own stuff to share. And so your story and your stuff will resonate differently than someone else's stuff will. And once we own our stuff, that's when we really connect with people. But it takes a while, you guys. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, it took me a year and a half or so because I was like, I kind of want to duplicate what this person's doing. So, I know it's not easy. But I guess what I want you to focus on this slide is that your story can be the only story that resonates with that one person that's online right now. Okay? Even if someone else's story is shinier, prettier, they've got these great effects, it's your story that could resonate even more powerfully than someone else's will. So write that down. Okay. Why your story matters. Some people may not relate to me. Okay. And once you wrap your head around that, you'll be okay. It's about relatable to people who are meant to be helped by you. Here's the thing, in the beginning, I tried to resonate with everybody. I was like, I want to help everybody. I want people to relate to me. I'm a helper. I was a social worker in mental health. I was like, I want to help the world. No, you can't help the world. You've got to pick a certain slice of the world, a certain niche that you relate to. Okay. And that's okay. And maybe you struggle like I struggle with, but that means I'm limiting my helping scope. No, you're not. You're concentrating your helping scope to those people who are going to relate and resonate with you. And so be okay with that. Be okay with that. And identify who your person is. That person that relates to you. That's the person that you tell your story to. Okay? When you speak on social media, when you share your you-ness, not, dads and 20-year-olds, if your niche is 35 and 40-year-olds, you know what I mean? Don't try to water yourself down or spread yourself too thin because it's not going to help. And that's what I did for too long. And I was like, that's not doing me any good. And when I finally figured that out, I was like, okay, all right, good. All right, this is working now. So some posts will not resonate with others, but it will resonate with the right people that are meant to be impacted by you if you share authentically. Okay, so why does your story matter? Well, because people join those who they like and trust. And I mean, at the end of the day, really, when I'm talking about joining, I'm talking about not just joining as a coach on your team, but people who connect with you, whether they join your circle, your network, as a challenger. Just think of that synonymously, like joining. A coach will join those who they like and they can relate to. And those people who are themselves will build a high level of trust. I think Brittany and Amanda are excellent examples of that, honestly. I mean, I know them, they're personal friends of mine, but I think that they are great examples of people who are just themselves, and people relate to that, and I see that. So, it doesn't surprise me that people relate to that, because when you are yourself, people are like, I want more of that, because I want to be more of myself, right? So those who are themselves will build the highest level of trust, okay? How do you find your story, though? Okay, it's not that easy. I was like, I got a story, but how do I know? Here's what you do. You ask yourself how you got to where you are. What is something you have struggled with in your life? What is some things you have struggled with in your life? Think of financial, emotional, physical when trying to find your story. I want to go ahead and sit on that for a second, because I don't want anybody here to think, Brittany, Amanda, different stories than my stories. I've got many coaches on my team who did not have to lose a lot of weight. I did. But you know what? They have a freaking kick-ass story. I have a kick-ass story. I had weight to lose. They didn't. You see what I mean? Like, or they might have not had the same amount. So I don't want you to get caught up in like pounds when it comes to your story. Your story could be financial, emotional, physical. It could be so different than the other person's story, but typically it falls within these three, dimensions, really. So you got to think about what your story is. And I'm going to get into like how you find it in a little bit. And you got to ask yourself, how did, whatever that thing is that you struggled with, right? Going back to what I shared with you guys, how did it contribute to who I am today? I'm gonna go back to that for a second. How did it contribute to the fact that when I was going to church and I felt thin, okay, in my Romanian church, and this like 60-year-old woman came and grabbed my arm, okay, and said, now that you're fatter, you look so much better. How did that affect me? How did that make me a better person today when I was feeling at my best? And it devastated me at the time. How did that help me? How did that help me when I was like, oh my gosh, I literally felt so beautiful that day, and I like just demolished me. And you got to like think about those moments. You're like, you know what? You know how it helped me? I do pull-ups and I do push-ups today, and I'm like, I'm a freaking beast, and I rock that shit. I'm a beast. I'm strong. I own my body, and I don't want to be skinny. I want to be strong. But it took me, you guys, many years to get there, and it took me owning how awful that felt. So you do have to go down memory lane and own that hard part that you don't necessarily want to own sometimes, okay? Sorry, I said the S word, but it's real. It's keeping it real. So here's the thing. You got to remember that your triumphs are your trials. Your struggle becomes your story, and your adversity becomes your advantage, and your mess is your message. This is not anything you haven't heard before. It's not my own original. I've heard it before from amazing coaches, but I want to share it with you guys because it impacted me in a profound way. So these are the things that people connect to, the struggles that lead you to the strength, the, hardship that made you doubt yourself, that lead you to this point where you're like, you know what? I am tired of trying to, make my arms be half the size they are. I'm just going to try to like freaking build them up because I'm going to be muscular, deal with it, And when you convey that and put that out there, not just accept it internally, but convey it somehow, some way, everything changes. It's powerful. And for you, it may not be that thing. For me, it was that thing. I always felt too muscular. And now people are like, you're so strong. And I'm like, you don't understand. I didn't want to be strong. I wanted to be skinny for too many years. And I felt like I was like a freaking, mammoth or whatever. But when you acknowledge that and you're like, I'm going to do something about it, that's when you could do something to connect with somebody. Okay, so you must breadcrumb your story. Okay, first of all, I'm long-winded. These girls know, Brittany and Amanda knows. I own it. I can't be succinct always about my story. But you gotta ask, you've gotta kind of sprinkle it in. Okay, so when you're sharing on social media, most of us share on Instagram or most of us Facebook, you gotta think about breadcrumbing because whether you're doing a live video or whether you're doing a post or whether you're doing whatever format you're sharing your story in, people may not be ready to hear all of it, but you want to keep people coming back to you. So here's what you got to ask yourself. Can this post inspire? You've heard this. Am I adding value? Am I being real? Every time I post something, you guys, and feel free to look at my wall. You'll never see a link to a program. You'll see a lot of me being silly. I do karaoke. I sing in church, but I'm just silly. I do a little preach post. I'm just who I am. And I always think in terms of, can what I'm sharing right here, right now, help somebody in some way? It doesn't have to be fitness related all the time. Okay, maybe I'm going to show you how I make this super simple 2-ingredient meal. It's like simple to me, but it's not simple to someone else. So you got to ask yourself, can this post inspire? How does this tie into your story? I'll tell you. Because if you are adding value in your posts, okay, in general, people are going to resonate with you. They're going to be like, I know this person. I mean, Amanda Miller, perfect example. My goodness, she's got like a bajillion followers. People feel like they know her because she is authentic in how she posts, okay? So you have to be authentic in different facets of your life for people then to pay attention when you share like more profound areas of your life. So always ask yourself, can this post inspire? Am I adding value? Am I being real? Am I making people laugh? I always like ask myself, it doesn't have to be like rocket science stuff, but is it adding some kind of something, comic relief or value to someone's life? And when sharing you, and a post, this is not my own thing, so I'm going to go ahead and give credit to Danielle Natoni. At Summit last year, she made this awesome point. She's like, you know what? She's like, when sharing your story, ask yourself, so what? So what does this mean, right? So when you're posting something, ask yourself, so what? So if you're posting a picture of your dog, when someone sees it, you got to ask yourself, so what is someone going to get from this? So my dog has taught me that I can be a fur mom even without being a mom to a real, whatever it is you're sharing, you've got to tie it into something deeper. Okay? It could be short, but it's so profound to ask yourself, why am I posting this? So what? Don't make it random. Don't make random posts. And believe me, I did a lot of random posts in the beginning. I was like, yeah, I need to put something up. Okay, it's random, whatever. So ask yourself, so what would someone get from this post? And it could literally be a picture of your coffee cup. I woke up this morning and I'm feeling grateful that God gave me another day of life. I'm feeling beautiful and I'm drinking my coffee. Tie it into something. So what is someone getting from that post? Because again, that ties into people wanting to know more about you. And you all have a story. And that matters. So again, making sure that it's you, that you're not representing someone else. And I want to focus on it for a second. I'm passionate about this. My whole team is all about, I rebranded myself. We used to be Team Fit to Be You. Now we're Team Empower. The reason we are Team Empower is because I really believe that everybody has an ability to empower other people. And there's nobody else like anybody else in this world. And I think sometimes we try to be like every other coach. I know I've fallen prey to that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so blonde. Maybe I should be blonder. She's so skinny. Maybe I should be skinnier. Whatever, whatever the thing is. No, you should just be yourself. And if you own that, people are going to love you for it. And some people won't, but you're not talking to those people. You're talking to those people who love you for it. So just make sure that you're being yourself, because when you do that, you are going to be so liberated. It's going to be crazy how amazing you feel, okay? You want to add value consistently. How? Simple. Being consistent in sharing you. I love this, and I teach this to my team, and I think this is one of the most beautiful concepts that we can learn. I can tell somebody, here's how you sign up a coach, here's how you hit Success Club, but when I can tell a coach, share you, this is what is going to help people believe that they have hope, that they can change their life, that to me is the most beautiful thing I could share with them. Because so many people forget about sharing themselves, okay? I know I had a career, I have loans, I was going through the motions of like, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I had forgotten about sharing who I was. So when you remind your coaches, when you remind yourself that you gotta share yourself, and you challenge yourself to share yourself, and you're like, how do I share myself? Crap, that means I gotta put myself out there. How? Okay, I got to share my interests. Okay, I got to share the fact that I used to love writing, but I forgot. I used to love poetry, but I forgot. Whatever that thing is. And when you like intentionally think about that, it is powerful, okay? So by consistently sharing you and getting back to those things you had forgotten about, that is what is going to impact people. And that's what I love to share with my coaches. Share who they are. Don't try to be someone else. And if you forgot who you are, write it down. Write the things that when you were 12, when you were 10, what did you want to do with your life? When you sat there and you talked to your best friend and you're like, when I grow up, I want to do this. Write those things down. This is what you're going to reignite right here, right now. Okay? Don't try to appeal to everyone. Oh, man. Okay, this is like huge for me. I struggled with this a lot all my life. Again, being in the, proud of my culture, but I was not a nice person for many years. I was not always a kind person. The woman I am today was not the woman I was before. I was judgmental. I was kind of bitchy. I was just not real, okay? And it's because I didn't feel comfortable in my skin. I was trying to be someone I wasn't. And it took me a while to find that person. And it took me really hitting maybe the rock bottom that I considered the worst part of my life, gaining a lot of weight to find the person I wanted to find. So you have to be real. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, okay? And you have to ask yourself, what do I have to offer? What am I passionate about? It's not about the products. It's not about the products. Yeah, the products rock. But I'm going to tell you right now, and as much as I love these products, and I wouldn't even be here talking to you guys and endorsing this if I didn't believe in something, because I don't do that. Like if this didn't change my health and life, I would not be talking to anybody about them. The products are amazing. Insanity, Shakeology is amazing, but it is not about the product. It is about you. And I think too many times we forget that it's about us. It's about how we connect, how the products have impacted our lives. So we need to realize it's not about the products. Stop putting focus on the products, you guys. The products sell themselves. They got marketing. They got freaking amazing brochures, shiny and pretty. You need to focus on you. That is what interests people. That is what makes people say, tell me more about the product, because you kind of got me wondering what this product is about. You got me wondering that. They're not going to say that to you. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But when they want to know more about the product is because you have resonated with them. Not the product. Not the product. It's you. So the reality is that you can't be everything to everyone. And if you try at best, I love this. I love this. I'm going to go ahead and say this the way I wrote it. You will be a watered down version of yourself. And at worst, you will have a major identity crisis and wonder what you're doing wrong. Hello. Okay. If you try to appeal to everybody, you're going to feel like you cannot be a successful coach. You're going to wonder why people aren't responding to you, because you're going to be kind of lukewarm. You got to be hot in the niche that you're appealing to. You can't be lukewarm. You can't be cold. You got to be like, I am talking to that one person. I don't care if one person responds to me. That's who the person I'm talking to. So you have to acknowledge that you can't be everything to everyone. That's hard for me. I mean, I like people to like me. I'm a people person. I'm a sociable person, and it's hard to think somebody might not like me because I'm a nice person. But some people won't like me, and I have to be okay with that. And maybe you're that person too. Maybe you're that person who doesn't care, but maybe you're that person who does. You have to say to yourself, some will, some won't. It's okay. I'm still all right. And here's the thing. This is a stat, right? 10% of all people you come in contact with have already made up their minds that they don't like you. They just don't. Don't worry about them. Focus on the 90%. There's going to be haters. There's going to be people who don't want to hear what you have to say. If we focus on those people, we are going to not move forward. Okay? So, I mean, maybe I'm talking, and I'm right now, it's like the way I'm talking right now, I'm talking to that one person who maybe is that person that's me. Maybe you're that person who's like, I want to appeal to everybody. You can't. Okay? You could be the most amazing person and someone's going to be like, she thinks she's like all that. Whatever. Did you see her? Did you see what she's wearing? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Think about your mission, not their freaking issues, okay? Just keep doing you. Okay. Sorry. Going live with your story. So how do you go live with your story? Because I'm going to give you guys tangible stuff. This is not just a preach moment, okay? You need to know your audience, you guys. How do you know your audience? Well, write down who you are, okay? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you examples. I'm a mom. I'm a social worker. I'm in my 40s. I know I look like 20s. Thanks. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But anyway, but legit, like you got to think about who you are. Think of your target audience, and talk to that one person. When I talk to people, I'm like, I'm talking to that one person that needs to hear my story. And believe that your story matters. Be intentional. This is probably one of my favorite words. If you're waiting for someone to come to you and say, please, Brittany, Mannie, Amanda, tell me your story, maybe there's a snowball's chance in hell that that'll happen, but most likely it won't. Because you know what? That's not the way life works. You've got to be intentional and you've got to say, I've got a story to tell and I'm going to share it. So you've got to be willing to share snippets of it, okay? And what I mean by that is there might be things that you don't feel comfortable sharing right now. We all have many stories. But if you can somehow, some way sprinkle just like, maybe a Cliff Note version of your story, maybe it's a two-liner. Maybe it's a simple 15-second video that says, I used to hate what I saw in the mirror, but now I feel better. Whatever that is, share it somehow, some way in your own format. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it. You just got to figure out the way that makes you feel comfortable. It's going to make people want to know more about you. Okay? So just realize that you don't have to dump it all at once. But if you're intentional about sprinkling it, people are going to be like, I want to know more. This is a real person. Oh my gosh. She's like, because people look at us, you guys, and they think we're awesome and perfect. And I know you're thinking like, oh, really? They do. They are like, you are coaches. You're perfect. You can do pull-ups. You can do push-ups. You never had a problem in your life. They look at Brittany. They look at Amanda. They're like, you're perfect. And they don't know that we've had a story. And if they don't know that, there's people who are going to always be silent. They're going to be like, I could never do that because look at them. They're so perfect. So when you unleash that, you literally like give people permission to say, oh my gosh, if they can, so can I. Okay. So you got to form relationships and connect by how you're posting on social media. You guys, I'm going to take it back to the branding thing. It's nothing, you guys have the best leaders. I mean, Brittany and Amanda, some of the best leaders in this business, they've taught you that, legit just post your 4 to 5 interests every single day, not just fitness. Share who you are. That's really all it takes. What are you into? Faith is number 1. I do worship music. I love fashion. I love makeup. I love food. My son, my family, fitness, of course. You interweave those things. That's how you form relationships with people because they're like, oh my gosh, I can relate to that. That is hilarious. I did not know this person, was about that. They may not even work out, but they're like, I can relate to what she just posted about her kid or, her business or, whatever else is going on in their lives. Okay. How to share your story. This is the fun part. Okay. So Oftentimes we word vomit. I've been there, but I'm going to give you a simple process of how you share your story. 4-step process. So you always want to share your background. I shared my story at a Super Saturday a few years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to share it in like 10 minutes. Funny. But I did it. So what you want to do is share your background. Then you want to share what you didn't like about your current situation. And this is something I learned from Eric Worre, the author of GoPro. And it was like mind-blowing when I learned that. Too many of us focus on the 3 and 4, the solution. Oh my gosh, Beachbody has provided a solution for my life. I did that. And my life has changed so much. But what he says is focus on number 2. And it feels awkward to focus on number 2 because you're like, really? Do I really want to do that? So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what that is. I'm going to show you exactly how I would do that. So as it ties into Beachbody, 3 years ago, I was dealing with 60 pounds of excess weight. I was a mom to a 2-year-old. I was overworked. My family was getting the last of me, not the best of me. And I was in a career that I felt I needed to be in. I was a social worker. And I was feeling completely stuck. I didn't know how to get back to me. I felt like I couldn't work out because I felt guilty for leaving my son. And I have always been that girl that always worked out. We came from a family that was very focused into fitness. I never really liked my body. I always felt like I had to be better than I was. Okay, share your background. What did I didn't like about the situation? I was tired of looking in the mirror and not recognizing who I saw. I wanted to love myself. I wanted to be the confident mom that I felt my son deserved. And I didn't understand why I didn't recognize the person I saw in the mirror. And I couldn't understand how this person that had this perfect plan laid out before her pregnancy was here stuck with 60 to 90 pounds of excess weight 2 years later. So, solution. Somebody offered me something I completely was skeptical about, and that is an at-home workout program, which I did not believe in, a shake, which I was like, please, seriously? And I said, I can't do this. But then I said, but I got to, because what I'm doing is not working. So I joined a challenge group. I decided to go for something I did not believe in at all, did something unconventional. How? And as a result, something started to change. I started to be embraced by this community of people who did not know me. I started to see that I didn't have to be perfect to inspire, that I didn't have to have it all figured out, that I could work out at home, that I could drink a shake that was actually helping my health improve. And as a result, when I started feeling better about myself, I said, why couldn't I help others do the same thing? And how my life has changed as a result is I reconnected with the person I had forgotten I was. I reconnected with my goals. I reconnected with the woman, the mom, the wife that I had forgotten I was. And I said, if I can be given this gift to love myself again, even though I had forgotten that, I want to give that to someone else. So here I am, this woman that did not believe in this ridiculous shake, this workout at home, yet I did it. And so I took a leap, and as a result, it changed my life. And my life has changed in such a way that 2 years after I took that leap, I gave up my career that was causing me to completely be drained and exhausted, and I pursued Beachbody full-time. And I decided to empower other women and moms the way I was empowered. And so my life has changed in dramatic ways. So there it is. There's my story. So I want to go ahead and just show you guys this. I share this at the end because my story is so much more than a physical transformation. I showed you guys the 2014. I need to put an updated picture. But at the end of the day, you need to remember that your story. And when I read this quote, it like touched me so much. There are people that are in a prison right now, and it is your story that legit can unlock it. And you are the only person that holds the key. And if you don't share that story, that raw, sliver, layer, segment, snippet, breadcrumb of a story, they are going to be in chains. And when I read that, I was like, I owe it to others to share how I have been changed. And so I want to challenge you guys to think about that for a second. You don't have to put it all out there, but you need to know that there's people who need to hear from just you. So that's all I got.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I have so many little notes and like little snippets and stuff that stuck out at me because, I've been coaching for 3 years and I've been sharing my story, but each time you share your story, you figure out you get more comfortable. So you share a little bit more and you get a little bit more vulnerable and I love that last line that what Mannie said, because I've heard that before too. And I've seen that happen so much in the last few months. Like when you share your story, you can unlock so many emotions and so many dreams for somebody else. And you don't know the power that you have within your story and what your words, like Mannie said, like what your words and what you sharing that can do for somebody else. And in the meantime of you sharing your story, you grow, you learn, you become confident, you get out of your comfort zone. You get to learn a little bit more about who you are and why you are the way you are. So it's a win-win situation. It's just something that we have to get over, and we have to kind of get over that hump. I just have two things to say, and then Amanda, if you want to chime in or if you guys have questions. But one thing when Mannie was talking about, the 3 things that you can kind of share about your story, the physical transformation, the financial transformation, and the emotional. Sometimes emotional can seem like a vulnerable word, like I don't want to share all of that. But think about the untangible things that you cannot touch, that you cannot take a picture of or show people. And for me, like my Beachbody story is so much more about the untangible, which is the community, the friendship, the growth within myself. You would not catch me reading a personal development book before Beachbody. And I cannot tell you how much those have, I might cry, pregnant hormones. But I cannot tell you how much those books have changed my marriage. They've changed my parenting. They've changed my life completely. Like I'm pregnant because of personal development books. I can truly believe that. But, those are the untangible things that you can't take a picture of and post. You have to share. And if you get on my team, if you talk to the people on my team, they're probably the same way. The reasons that they're successful or they stay on our team or they love our team are those untangible things, those the confidence, the community, the growth, the support, the feeling of belonging, the feeling of purpose. So those are those untangible, those emotional transformation, that emotional story. And then when Mannie was telling about perfection, about how, she just is using Amanda and I as examples. And I remember sitting in Punta Cana for our diamond retreat with Meg, and Meg forced us all to share our stories. And that was, for some of us, the first time that I had met, I think, anyone. And so here I am in Punta Cana with these girls that I've been doing Zoom calls with and running groups with and all that with, and loving life and everything's great and whatever, with the last 18 months. And here I am sharing my story about my eating disorder and my body image issues and how I let guys treat me and how I let guys define my self-worth. And I went through all of that. And I remember Mannie looking at me going, I have so much more respect for you right now, because I thought you were Little Miss Perfect. You got pregnant and then you went right back to where you were. Like, I didn't know that you had those emotional struggles that I'm proud to say I've overcome, and God has really helped me, embrace that and change that and use that for my business as well. But I only tell you that to show you that it was a light bulb moment for me, because that made me realize that I was not sharing my full story on social media. I was not sharing my full story with my team or my coaches and the people that I was working closest with. And people that I was running challenge groups with, Mannie was like, I had no idea about that about you. Like, your story and you as a person just became a whole lot more real and sweeter to me, because now I know your struggle and I can celebrate with you because you've overcome. And it's really hard to be that vulnerable, but there's so much power in that. And it just takes telling. I'm so grateful for Meg for forcing us to share our stories, because we learned so much about each other. And, these girls are like my best friends, and we're virtual best friends. But I know when I see them in person, we just pick right where we left off, because we open up about what's going on. So I just wanted to share those things. Those were two things that really stuck out to me, and just kind of wanted to share my 2 cents on the story and how that kind of can play off. So, Man, did you have anything, or are you good? I think she said I do.
Yeah, I just have a couple things that I like, that my takeaways too. I was thinking of the exact same thing, that trip in Punta Cana, and mine was a little different. Mannie and Brittany, if you guys remember, I'm like, I don't have a story, guys. I've never been overweight. My parents are still married.
Perfect life.
Remember? I was like, I got no story. I'm like, so I'm the product of too much love. And I don't know. So if you're sitting on this call and you're like, well, I don't really have, like, I never had depression issues, or I didn't have an eating disorder, or, maybe you didn't have anything like crazy happen to you. I mean, some of the stories we heard, they were really intense. I wouldn't say that like my story has that caliber, but think of pivotal moments in your life that have led you to where you are. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm not going to go into my story because this isn't my call, but like that's what I had to do. I had to really, like, instead of saying, well, what do I have that's similar to depression? Like, you can't compare it and try to like compare your story apples to apples, but there are, no matter who you are, you have pivotal moments that put you on the trajectory that you're on. Right. Mm-hmm. So think about that, because I can relate to, there's got to be at least one of you on this call that's like, I don't really have anything that crazy. But you have something. And then that kind of ties into my next point, is authenticity. So again, I don't have like crazy traumatic happenings in my life. Like, I'm actually going through more heavy stuff now in my life coming into coaching than I ever have. And I actually can't yet share a lot of that on social media, but I will. So my story is building as I age. But authenticity is important. And I think that, like, sometimes, especially if you're a new coach, you feel like you can only post about the stuff you're doing right. So whereas, like, I'm not so crazy about sharing my story, I'm crazy about sharing when I'm struggling. Like the posts where I talk about how I'm off track. I just did one on, I just posted a picture because I was doing, like, I was in the gym in my building, and like I looked up and I was like feeling really strong, and I looked up and all I saw was cellulite on my legs. So I took a picture of it and I posted it, and I just posted like 3 things every woman should know. And just talking about how, like, we all have those demons. And so that sort of authenticity drives people to trust you and to relate to you and to know that you have demons too. So like, drop perfectionism. Like it's not relatable. It's not attainable. So if you're struggling, breadcrumbing your story, start with sharing struggle, like day-to-day struggle. Like, don't want to work out today. Like, oh, I ate my face in carbs today, cause that's still sharing a little bit of, like, it's relatable. So if you're struggling with figuring out how to share your story, start there. Mm-hmm. Right there. You'll get more comfortable with admitting you're not perfect, and then you can start breadcrumbing in.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have questions? Or did something stick out to you? It's always, I know when I speak on a call, I like to hear what I said that might have helped somebody. So did anything like stick with someone and go like, yeah, that's me, or that's what I need to focus on, or, Amanda, is your team quiet like my team?
Yes.
It's quiet too. They're just a thought.
No one?
I thought there was a ton of like really great takeaways on there, like the different quotes you had about like turning your mess into your message. I think that's so important to remember, and every successful coach will say that, right? You can't. We're just not in the business to be perfect, right? It's just not like, look at even Carl Deichler. He posts all the time how he hates vegetables. He's the CEO of a $1 billion fitness company, and he posts how he hates eating vegetables.
Yeah.
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but that makes people relate to him.
I love that. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Mannie. We appreciate you taking the time. We know that it's been busy getting back from your cruise and adjusting to mom life again and girl boss life. And we just really thank you for taking the time out to share your story with us and to help us and inspire us to share on ours. So have a good night, and I will get this recording up tonight, and then I'll shoot it over to you as well, Amanda, so that we have it. So thanks again, everyone.
Thanks, Mannie.
Bye.